Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to On the Spot Motorsports. As we are going to bring you a great show tonight, I'm Mitchell Gunter, and we have Alexa Gatlin joining us tonight as my co-host.
Hi, everyone.
Alexa, I wanted you to kind of explain a little bit about your background since you're the new co-host of the show, and then we'll get into paying the bills and bring our special guest on, Taylor Watson.
Okay, so I've been around racing. My grandpa raced, and then my dad raced. I actually raced my grandpa's 69 Camaro, which he raced, and then my dad raced. So this is its 46th year of racing. I started racing when I was 14 or 15 at Green Cove Dragway. I started racing in a really slow Dodge Ram pickup truck because at the time you weren't allowed to go above a certain speed. And then I started racing a 2004 GTO, which I also drove to school every day. And then slowly worked myself into getting my grandpa to let me go into the Camaro. And then so now I've been racing the 69 Camaro for 2 years now.
Well, I tell you what, we're glad to have you along being part of the team. You have a lot of experience being around motorsports and stuff, and we were thrilled for you taking our offer and being the co-host. But we have a special guest tonight. Like I said, we have Taylor Watson. She drives the number 25 and races in the truck series at New Smyrna Speedway, but she also races a couple of other tracks here in the state of Florida. We're going to have her on. But first, I want to mention our sponsors. First up, we have Miracle Automotive and Towing. Hey, don't pray for a miracle. Call a miracle at 904-368-1114 for all your automotive and towing needs. Also, we have Westgate Resorts. Hey, you're looking for a great resort? Maybe you need to visit Westgate and see if they can fit your need. Hey, and also with Westgate, if you're looking for a free trial, hey, you can use this right here. You can call the number down on the bottom of the card, give them that discount code right there, and you get a 3-day, 2-night stay for free. So also, we want to mention On the Spot Lawn Maintenance. Let the red, white, and blue take care of your green. So that's our marketing partners that we have so far. We're probably going to end up adding a few more. And like I said, we have Taylor Watson. She's waiting in the studio. And we're going to go ahead and bring her on right now and start asking her some questions. But first, we're going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor Watson. I'm 16 years old, and I've been racing since I was 7. I started out in quarter midgets at New Smyrna Speedway. That's my home track. Then I advanced to a Legends car, and then from there, now I race the truck series, mainly around Florida. So New Smyrna, my home track, Auburndale, Citrus, kind of around there.
Now, you're also still a high school student, correct?
I am, yeah. I just completed my junior year. So going into senior year, started some college applications last night. I'm really excited for that chapter of my life, but I will be racing too.
To get things started, Taylor, what encouraged you to get involved in racing?
So my grandfather, my dad's dad, he was involved in motorsports his entire life. He ran Lee Speedway up in New Hampshire, and then when he moved down here, he also ran Volusia Speedway, a dirt track about 20 minutes from my house. We go there all the time. And so my dad kind of grew up around racing, but didn't really do it as a kid. So when he was older, he decided to race on his own. Stopped when I was born to be home with my mom and, you know, raised me. And one day he was like, "Hey, Taylor, do you want to go do an arrive and drive at New Smyrna Speedway where you pay 20 or so bucks and they give you the equipment and you get 10 laps in a car?" And I was like, "Yeah, heck yeah." And then from there, it's first I didn't like it, and then we did it one more time, and I was like, yeah, this is it. And I mean, we've been racing every weekend since.
At what age did you start racing, and what type of class car did you drive?
So I started when I was around 7 in a quarter midget. And so in quarter midgets are different classes done by ages and weights. So red rookie, novice, that's kind of what I started out in. And that picture right there, that's actually my first ever dirt race, my first ever national dirt win. Sorry. That's actually at Baps Motor Speedway in Pennsylvania. So.
Do you prefer the dirt over the asphalt, or you pretty much like both?
I a lot.
Sorry.
Experience on the asphalt, but I did a lot of dirt. I'm like my last year of quarter midgets, we did run the national dirt series, like that picture. And then when I ran Legends with my Joe Ryan race cars team, ran a lot of really challenging, but I love it. So I think if I was able to, getting more dirt cars and race more in dirt, I'd definitely like it a lot more.
What track were you at in this picture?
Pretty sure that's in. Well, I see the track, but I'm pretty sure that was Dirt Nationals at Lincoln in Pennsylvania. If I'm right, I'm correct. Or that actually, I think it was East Lincoln in North Carolina. I don't know. I think it's North Carolina because I read dirt, but I could be wrong.
How hard is it to drive one of those Legend cars?
I mean, when I first got one, everyone would always tell me like, oh, like if you can drive a Legends car, you can drive anything. And like with the power to weight ratio in those cars, it was definitely a lot harder than I expected. I mean, you have to wheel that car literally on like the limit of spinning it out, and it's every lap you have to drive it to the edge. And so it was definitely a challenge going from like a quarter midget to something that takes that much, just takes a lot out of you. As in, where the quarter midget, some of the cars, like you drove them all kind of different, but some of them you could just hold down and, be super smooth. And the Legend, you definitely have to wheel, be really aggressive, a lot of throttle and brake work. So it definitely was a learning curve, and they are hard to drive. I think if you can drive one of those, you can drive anything. But I love them, and I think they are great learning tools. I think going from a Legend to a truck, I definitely carried a lot of those skills with me that help.
So, do you still race the Legends, or are you just concerned like you're just racing the truck right now?
Well, I race Legends with Joe Ryan race cars, and I love them. I'm so grateful for everything they taught me. And I might still dabble here and there and go race some dirt races with them. Like I said, I love all of them, but a main reason that we kind of transitioned from Legends to truck was that they're based out of North Carolina, and almost all the races were way far away. Like I said, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. I mean, Las Vegas we went. So it was a lot of traveling, and with school's a big thing for international back to related. So with traveling, it's definitely really hard for me to keep all that together. So trucks made it really easy. Kind of focus on my schoolwork the first, during the week and weekend to racing. And definitely not going to say I'm not going to race a Legend again. I would love to go out there and race some more dirt races. As of right now, we're focusing on trucks, and I love the truck. So I'm having a lot of fun.
Okay. With that being said, you were talking about earlier the reason why you kind of moved to the trucks is because of your education. And education is very important for everyone. Can you tell us a little bit the reason behind that?
So like I had said, I'm in the IB program. It's an international program around the world. Only some schools offer it. So freshman year, I decided to test into it and see if I can get in, and I did. And from there, it was a little bit of a gamble. Like, it's going to be way too hard for me, and it's definitely a really big workload. It's a lot, and I spend a lot of hours doing schoolwork. But education is really big to me, and I think it's worth it. And it is hard, but I think it's worth it. Like I said, and my plan is to go to the University of Florida, and get my business degree if all works out. So straight A's and a 5.0 GPA. So I'm really, I'm really committed to my education, and I'm also committed to racing. So it was just a balance. And like I said, the truck definitely made it easier to balance that.
Well, nothing makes me happier than go Gators.
Woohoo!
I see that Alexa, she had to go to another room.
I'm sorry, I'm dog sitting right now, and they're so quiet. And I guess there was a bird or something in the background, in the backyard.
Hey, that happens. Hey, we love our furry friends. Alexa, do you have a question?
So who are your marketing partners for the truck that you have?
So as far as marketing goes, I market everything for myself, all my social media, all my Facebooks, Instagrams, anything. Taylor Watson is all from me. And sometimes it's just my mom taking a picture on my phone. Hey, I raced this night, just spreading with people. As far as like a sponsor goes, Exquisite Pool and Spa is my main one, but mainly it's kind of just me and my family at the moment. I'm definitely interested in trying to pursue more sponsorship opportunities. That's definitely something in the future that I need to work more on and try to get.
Yeah, I tell you what, trying to find marketing partners, especially right now with the gas going up and everything else that's going up because of diesel fuel, it makes it really hard to find those marketing partners. But I tell you what, there are still companies out there that still want to get in the game and back racers and stuff and try to help push their products. Uh, what is the next stop in your racing career? Have you thought about racing in the Xfinity Series, Cup Series, the Truck Series, ARCA? Have any of those things ever come to light?
Yeah, I've always said, if racing, if obviously, to make it professional in any sport, the chances are slim. But if I ever got like the ride or the opportunity and the money to go pursue my dreams, I would in a heartbeat. Like my education is, kind of like my backup plan, because I have to have a backup plan. And so, if something crazy were to happen and I would get a ride, I would take it in a heartbeat. I think if you do what you love for a job, then you'll never work a day in your life. And I do. I love racing. So that's always something I've always said to people. That everyone's always going to ask me, like, "Oh, do you want to race when you grow up?" And I'm like, if I get the opportunity, yeah, I would. I'm going to see where it takes me. I'm still really young and still in school, so we'll see what happens. But it's
Right, and there's other stuff out there besides the NASCAR and ARCA series, ARCA Menard series. There's chances with Formula One, IndyCar, rally racing. There's all different types of form of racing, and if you're a good driver, and you can bring tools with you as far as marketing and bring sponsors in, hey, the door's opened.
Yeah, even if I, didn't race like for a career, I think I would try to ground whatever I do into racing, because I truly love it. I've reached out to like the NASCAR Foundation this summer just to try to volunteer at different events, just kind of see what's out there, because like I said, racing is my passion, and I think even if I did something in business and grounded it in racing, that's obviously would still be something that's really appealing to me. So we'll see what's out there.
How much racing do you have left in your season, and where are you currently in your points?
So we kind of had a slow season so far. Florida, the summer, it rains every day at the same. So I've had 3 row now get rained out. So far this season, I think I have third at Citrus. I got my first win in the truck at New Smyrna, and then a second. Last time I raced, I got second in New Smyrna. So I am currently tied for the points lead at New Smyrna. Auburn, I think I got fifth in the charity truck race, which was my first race ever in a truck, and Actually, that was a whole story. I took my ACT that morning and we ran to the track. I hadn't like sat in the car before, and so as far as point standing, it's a little bit too early, really, except for New Smyrna, to look at where I am. I have a lot of races coming up. Starting in about August, it starts to pick back up till December. I'm pretty much racing every weekend from August to December until like Christmas. So definitely lots of racing coming up, all local, Auburndale, Citrus, New Smyrna. So I'll definitely keep my Facebook page updated for when I do race, especially New Smyrna. So.
Yeah, I tell you, we're actually fixing to open up the phone lines. I'm fixing to pop up a number, and if anybody wants to call in, they're more than welcome to ask you a question.
I am racing at Citrus this weekend. If it doesn't get rained out, hopefully. I'm in the range, but that's the plan.
That's the worst part about racing in Florida.
It is.
That's crazy.
We got a question from, well, actually, James Alston says, "Yay, Taylor, much love for you."
Thanks.
And then we have Clinton David. He says, "Have you used iRacing to prepare for any of your racing?"
I have done iRacing. I haven't done it in a while, but I have before. Honestly, I can see where it definitely be a good tool for like the higher up levels. You know, I feel like the drafts can kind of be. For me, as far as like feeling the car, I didn't really like that you could feel it that much.
Give us just a second.
I think I probably definitely should get on it a little bit more. Now that I don't have school, I probably definitely will. But I have before, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. But maybe I'll give it a chance.
All right. Well, we have a caller that wants to ask you a question. Go ahead with your question.
Hey Taylor, my name's Clint Collins. Just tuned into the On the Spot, and I like that you're chasing your journey and working hard at it. I just had a few questions. Like, is there apparel that you have that we can go get and to help support, as well as do you maybe use any type simulator iRacing to help you get ready for certain races at different tracks? And that's pretty much what I wanted to know.
All right. As far as apparel goes, I have racing a lot of safety gear. So I have a fire suit, which is from my fingertips all the way down to my ankles, fire retardant, and so that will help me stay safe. And I have gloves as well, earbuds that connect to my receiver on my radio so I can hear my spotter. I have a Hans device which sits around my neck and kind of keeps my neck, keeps it from moving, and that connects to my helmet. I also have, I have fireproof socks. I have a little fireproof thing that goes over my head. So definitely a lot of safety equipment that goes into racing. Definitely a lot. Yeah, definitely a lot that I have to put on. And then as far as a simulator, like I said before, I have tried iRacing before, and I have used it, to prepare for races. Most of the tracks I go to around Florida, I've been to so many times, and so it's kind of like muscle memory. But when I go to an out-of-town track, I definitely have it for you. Thank you so much for the support, guys.
Again, we have Taylor Watson here with us. She races Truck Series, the Ashley Holmes JAX Truck Series at New Smyrna Raceway. Again, if you have a question for her, you can call in and ask her. The call-in number is 904-966-1386. Can you tell us a little bit about the truck that you drive as far as the motor, transmission, how much it weighs, and all that good stuff?
Yeah. So it has a metric chassis. It has a 602 motor, a 350 Chevrolet, and I have a Muncie transmission. And honestly, I couldn't even tell you the exact weight they're supposed to weigh. Honestly, it varies from track to track, but they're definitely a lot more than the Legend and a lot more than the quarter midget. The quarter midget, we kind of just, when we get the back bumper and someone get the front bumper, and you just lifted it up and put it on the cart and just wheeled it away. And with these things, I can actually drive them myself. And in the truck, I have a reverse, which is new. That was also a big, that was different for me going from the Legend to the quarter midget, because I actually had, a clutch and gears to shift, and the truck as well. I have that as well. The truck.
Also, there's another question by Clint David. Have you raced against who's that? Rolf State?
Oh, Rafe
Slate
Slate.
in Legends?
I heard the name before, maybe from quarter midgets or a friend of a friend. But no, I haven't. Not that I know of. I've ever raced against them in Legends. When I raced Legends, I raced in the Young Lion division, which was, I'm pretty sure it's 12 to, I think it was 12 to 15 or 16. When I stopped racing, when I stopped racing Legends, I completed my whole year in Young Lion. So I turned 16 last July. So basically, because of how that all works, I stayed in Young Lion for the rest of the year, and then obviously now I'm in the truck. So I don't think I've raced with him before. I think he probably would have been in a different age group than me.
I'll tell you, I like how they do the Legends racing, where you race against everybody of all ages, and then they kind of break it down by, you have your young lions, you have semi-pro classes as well, and it kind of reminds me of endurance racing, where you have all the different classes out there. You have the prototypes, uh, prototype 1, prototype 2, and all the classes all the way down. That's what it kind of reminds me of. But even though you can be an overall winner as well as just the winner of Young Lions, or you can come in third and be the winner of Young Lions, which is really neat.
Well, so as far as that goes, it kind of depends on where you go to. So, like a big national race, they will divide you into Young Lions, Pro, and then Masters. The Masters is 55 and up. Pro pretty much has a few things good enough to compete with the best. Usually it's mean, hard. Pro is if you're 16 and above, and then Young Lion is obviously below that. And so, but if you do go to a small track, where I've many races where they just throw us all in one race, and the overall winner is overall winner. But sometimes you can look back and be like, hey, I would have gotten first Young Lion division. And, sometimes they'll point that out. But honestly, I love racing with everybody. I think it's fun to have all the different age groups. I think it makes it a really good race. I mean, I like Anderson. They do that a lot there. I raced there, and I loved it. I had so much fun racing with everybody, and I definitely like they do that. In quarter midgets, same thing. They kind of divide you up a little bit by like the amount, like by your age, pretty much, and then your weight. And so in quarter midgets, I liked how they do that. So when I ran quarter midgets, I actually ran 5 cars, which is the max number you can run. And so it was a heavy Honda, heavy 160, heavy world formula, unrestricted animal, and then heavy mod. And so within those, there's different like qualifications. For like a heavy 160, you had to be over anything heavy. You had to be over 100 pounds, like just the driver. And then like different classes, like the 160 or the world, you had to have at least 2 years of experience. And they all drive kind of different. So the fact that they do break up into classes like that in motorsports was helpful. I mean, in quarter midgets, it helped me get more seat time on the track. And as far as Legends, I think it helped me race against people that had really good skill levels. I mean, racing as a young lion, racing with pros, it definitely taught me a lot, and I definitely enjoyed it. So I do think it's neat that they do that. But in the trucks, it's kind of just everyone. So, I mean, I'm like, last time I raced at New Smyrna, I was like the only girl on the whole track. The guy that finished behind me had a kid. And so that's just kind of how it is. And I'm just kind of used to it. I like to race, and we're gonna race hard no matter how old you are. So
Right.
There's nothing better than everybody else, like all the old seasoned veterans, aka Mitchell, them underestimating you and then beating all the older people. There's nothing better than that.
They're definitely being a girl. Sometimes think different things or race you differently. I've had all that happen in my career. You're right. When you beat them and you're just like, it's
yeah. And when they look at your car and you're like, like this is gonna be an easy win, and then you beat them, and it's the best thing.
We have actually another comment, and this comes from our partner David Rogers. He says, "Taylor, welcome to the show from pretty much all of our team at On the Spot with David Rogers."
Guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
tell us a little bit. How many wins or championship wins did you have in the quarter midgets? Because I know you had quite a few, correct?
Yeah, I have some trophies behind me from some of my biggest accomplishments, I would say. I mean, starting at the top, I pulled off the Heavy Honda National Championship in the USAC .25 midgets, and so that was probably like my biggest accomplishment of all. I mean, the blood, sweat, and tears that went into winning that championship were just unmatched, and I mean, it was a huge accomplishment. And they do the banquet at the same time that they do the big USAC banquet in Indianapolis. So we flew up to Indy, and it was in the ballroom, and that was really cool. I'd have to count up the exact number, but I probably have definitely over 10 podium finishes in national points championships, both dirt and asphalt. I probably have a couple more than that. It's been so long since I've raced. And then I have 5 regional championships. And I have, I think, 8 Little New Smyrna 500 championships. And then I also have probably 8 or 9 New Smyrna just seasonal championships as well. Like I said, I don't have all the numbers memorized. It has been a while, but definitely a lot of fun in quarter midgets. And I mean, some of my biggest wins were that picture you showed on dirt. That was probably the best feeling ever. It actually had a little story to that. I woke up. Well, the day before, I was sitting in the trailer and wouldn't eat anything, and my mom was like, "Oh no, something's wrong." Because if you know me, I'll always snack, and I'll always be out at the races, like talking to people. And I didn't have to race that day because I made all my cars straight into the A main, and they were doing all the lower mains and stuff like that. And so we went to the hotel, and I stayed in the hotel room and slept. And the next morning, I woke up and passed out in the shower and was throwing up. And my dad was like, "We're gonna have to go home." And I'm like, "No, Dad, we're not going home. I made every car to the A main, and I start like second or third or first in every single one of them." I'm like, "We have to do this. We have to do this." And before I got to my first one, I'm telling my dad, I'm like, "I don't know if I can do this, Dad. I'm feeling a little dizzy." And he's like, "Well, I'll take you out." And I'm like, "No, I'm fine. I'm fine." And I was like, "Look, I'll do hot laps. And if I'm not good, I'll give you like a thumbs down." And so I ended up finishing second in the first race, and my motor like blew up to the finish. That was in the heavy Honda division. And then we ran a couple more, and I was so close. I was leading, and then I accidentally hit the turtle and kind of went up a little bit towards the wall and got passed in one car. And me and my dad were kind of bickering back and forth, and then we pulled off the win, and it was just unbelievable. And I mean, it was like our first kind of rodeo, and we just kind of didn't really know what we were doing. It's our second ever dirt race, and so that win was just incredible. And Indianapolis, I finished second there twice, and that was just the biggest show ever. So in quarter midgets in the championship, they had like 8 different races probably, and there was one of them that was required, and that was the Brickyard at Indianapolis. And so, I mean, my first year we went, there was like 500 cars, and we were just some random people that came from Florida and decided to go race. And my dad was like, "If you make it to one A main, like that'll be it. Like we'll be so happy." And I made it to an A main in the last transfer spot, like straight to it, the A main, and then I finished second. That was awesome. And then right after that, we're like, "Okay, well, now we have to travel." And then we went to Pocono in Pennsylvania, and I won. And so, I mean, there's a couple wins just like that. They just have such cool backstories, and just, yeah, those are definitely some of my favorites. We made a lot of memories, and I just wanted to touch on, like, anyone that's thinking about racing or doing anything like that, I definitely would. I mean, the memories that me and my parents have made together are unmatched, and like the bonding. And I think that's a side that some people don't think about, but quarter midgets really brought my family together. I mean, that was like our time. We'd go to the racetrack, we'd hang out the whole day, and it wasn't always pretty between me and my dad, but it all worked out. And we have just so many good memories, and so that's definitely something that I will forever cherish, just like those wins and those championships. And me and my family continue to bond, and through racing, and that's what we do. We're a racing family. So,
And I tell you, you were talking about you were sick as a dog, and nothing makes you feel better when you're sick than pulling off a win, because that just makes the sickness goes away for some reason.
yeah.
And it's really weird. I mean, even Alexa can tell you, most of the time when we feel bad is usually when we do very well. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Yes, or if there's something wrong with the car. If you start off with something wrong with the car or something like in time trials, that's when you end up doing better, honestly. I feel like that always happens to me.
Oh, yeah. I got out of my car and I was still kind of feeling sick. And so since I raced 5 cars, I don't even get to take off my helmet or anything. I'm just in one car. So I got out and I'm pulling off my helmet and I'm so sweaty and I have like dirt everywhere. So does my family because they're sitting by the track and all the dust flying at them. And we're just like, oh my God. And we had pictures together. I mean, we're just all just so dirty. And I was sick as a dog and it was great. Just like you guys said. So, but that's happened. I've been sick before and done good. And I'm like, oh my God, like what?
Well, Taylor, David Rogers, he wants to know, who is your favorite driver on the NASCAR circuit?
This one is easy. I'm a huge diehard Kyle Larson fan. I love Kyle Larson, and I think he's a wheel man. I mean, he can drive anything from a late model to a midget to a sprint car to cup, and I love watching him race. So he's definitely my favorite for sure. I have a few others that I like, but he's number one.
Yeah, actually, you have a picture of him with you and him at Volusia. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And he was down there that week that you were racing.
I think at Daytona one time.
Okay.
Came and got a picture with us, and then Volusia, he was racing at Speed Weeks, and so like I said, we live 15 minutes from Volusia, so Speed Weeks, we just like live down there, me and my dad, and we just eat off the pork chop sandwiches. If you guys have ever been to Speed Weeks or Eldora, you guys know what I'm talking about. There's a little guy in a trailer that makes pork chop sandwiches, and they're to die for. So if you guys ever go to a national race, you got to look for the pork chop guy.
All right. Alexa, do you have any other questions that you'd like to ask Taylor? And of course, we got our phone lines. If you're out there, you're more than welcome to call in to the telephone number and ask her any question that you would like.
So I was just going to ask you, what is your Instagram? Because I know a lot of people use Instagram more than Facebook these days. So what would your Instagram be?
Taylor Watson Racing, no spaces, capitals. And yeah, I haven't connected. So usually I post like stories on Instagram, and then, posts will go to both. But yeah, definitely Instagram. I feel like I maybe use a little bit more. Those are my main 2 socials. And, if anyone ever has any questions or anything, you can always message me or DM me on either of those. And any updates, that's where I would go. And like I said, I do my own social media. So sometimes it takes me a day or 2 to make the post after the race. It's just because, we're busy doing stuff. But it always gets up there. So
awesome.
Well, this is for Alexa.
Oh, gosh.
David Rogers says he wants to welcome you to the On the Spot team and looking forward to meeting you in person real soon. He said that you're doing a great job, and I've been trying to get him out to the track. I have been trying to get him out there on several occasions.
You should. Thank you for welcoming me.
I think you know this gentleman right here that's watching.
No. He's supposed to be preaching right now.
And also we got Clint David again. He says, did you get any tips from the wheel man, Kyle Larson himself? He is full of knowledge.
He is full of knowledge. I mean, I've tried to have, small little conversations and, haven't gotten like a ton of knowledge from him. But I mean, if I had to sit down with one person and talk to racing, he'd probably be one of them. I love watching him race, like I said. And, I think he does have a lot of knowledge. I mean, he knows race cars and he's really good at driving them. And, I think it definitely takes a lot of skill, to dial in the car that good and, to really feel it in your butt, like what the car is doing. And it's definitely something that all drivers continue to work on, because that's our job, is to see what the car needs and then how, as a driver, we can adjust our driving to make up for the car and, go fast. So he hasn't really talked to me directly and gave me tips, but I wish.
I tell you, another driver that gets really involved in youth, as far as kids running the quarter midgets and so far, and that's Joey Logano.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, he's actually came down when y'all were racing inside of Daytona Speedway with the quarter midgets. Kyle Larson was down there as well, and Joey Logano, he took up some time with Brody, sat down with him for 30, 40 minutes, and just sat on the curb and talked to him. he says, "Man, legends have came a long way since I've raced." Or sorry, quarter midgets have came a long way since I've raced them. He says, "We didn't have double stacker trailers and stuff like that when I was, doing it."
Yeah, that's funny. So now that you say that, actually, he was standing, him and his kid on his shoulders. He was standing right outside my trailer, and my dad called me and was like, "Where are the gone?" I was like, "We're outside our trailer watching the races." And so I went over there and I got my picture and I talked to him. But yeah, he's an awesome dude. And even when he won the other day, he commented on how he started from quarter midgets. And I admire that, and I come from the same upbringing and racing as him, and I do think he's a good driver as well.
Yeah, that relationship, that bond with young drivers getting into the sport, they never forget it. That's memories that last as a lifetime. David Rogers wants to know, do you know Brody Gunner, and have you raced against him?
So me and Brody were in the same little rookie group when we started racing. So yeah, I raced with him for about probably 7 years, a long time, almost every year that I've been racing. So we started off in quarter minutes together, and at one point we would always switch, getting first and second every week, and we were really competitive. And in Legends I raced against him, and we're still competitive. So my family loves the Gunter family, and we've known them for forever. And Brody's definitely one of my old racing buddies I've had for a long time. So we know them really well, and I have raced against them a lot.
Okay, we have another question right here. This is for you, Alexa. Is it true that she has never beaten her old man?
It is true, but the last time, he's just lucky that I read that last time, because I definitely had him. So
Appreciate everybody making the comments tonight, coming in. Like I said, if you like to call in, we have a few more minutes before the show ends. Any question at all? Have you ever thought about going to a drag strip and trying it out?
Not really. No, I haven't really thought about it. It's definitely a whole different world of racing. And I've been racing on little circles since I was 7, and that's kind of what I'm used to. I definitely wouldn't be opposed to it, but, if I have the opportunity, I would definitely try it out and see what it's about. Definitely be something really new. So I do like oval racing now.
Right. Well, we've had some NASCAR drivers like Kurt Busch, for instance. Kurt Busch, he came down. It's been a while at one of the Gator Nationals, and he was sponsored by Shell. And he got in a pro stock car and he raced. He struggled in qualifying, but by the end of qualifying, he actually had it down pat, done very well for someone who just been in a car for a couple of licensing passes to get his license to race that particular type of car. And he ended up actually running against Erica Anders at Gainesville, and Erica tore him up on the tree on reaction time, which she is very, very good at doing. She is one of the best levers in pro stock. So he qualified number 6, and I think he qualified number 16, and she was the number 1 qualifier.
Oh.
But he done extremely well with it. You have Greg Biffle. That's he just got inducted into the Western Racing Hall of Fame with a few other people a couple of weeks ago, and he would go out to ZMAX and race one of his Roush supercharged Mustangs and drag race out there on particular nights as well. So it's funny, how motorsports all comes together, and it's all about the enjoyment of getting behind the wheel and doing it. I've even thought of maybe calling Kyle Beatty Racing. That's who Brody races for. You have the opportunity to go up there and rent a car for the weekend. They'll work for you with you on the setup and all that stuff, try to get you acquainted and try to get you into the race. I thought it'd be fun to go up there and rent a car.
I have a funny story. Yeah, I think you should. Like I said, legends, they're hard, but they teach you a lot, and it's fun. And that whole BD group, they're great people. I always loved hanging out with them. And on that note, though, my dad actually bought a legend car, but he bought it to say, because he said he was going to race it against me on dirt, and he never once even sat in it. So, I don't know if he was just scared or he said he didn't have time, but I think you should try it out. I think you should. It's fun. And talking about different kind of racing, something I have wanted to get into is like road course. I've heard that's really challenging and teaches you a lot as well. I mean, I've heard it's obviously a lot going on. I mean, downshifting and upshifting. And so they have a couple of different road course legends events. So maybe we've kind of been saying it for a while, but maybe we'll try to see what road course racing is like. Have you guys ever done any road course or anything like that?
I actually worked out at the firm before it was the firm, and it was called Ivor Wiggum's European Rally School. And I actually worked out there as a mechanic. And one of the things I would have to do is take the cars out on the course, because you don't brake normally with a rally type car or road course car. You use a lot of handbrake. And so I would have to get out there to the skid pad, run the car down, pull the e-brake, make sure it turned correctly, and it worked. And I tell you what, by doing that, it's a lot of fun. So I can imagine what it's like driving on a road course. And a lot of those real good drivers that runs, say, on a wet surface, they will go back to the rally style racing, because they're able to slide the rear ends around those turns by using the e-brake in the car. And it's quite remarkable. And I tell you, you need to come up here to the firm. It's like a mile from the house. They have classes out there. I think you really enjoy it. There's a guy out there. His name is Bren. Super nice guy, full of education. He's raced and everything. He's a very good instructor. And I tell you, if you decide to come up here and go to the firm, that's who I would have as my instructor. Very knowledgeable guy.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll keep it in mind. I know they did some local legends races out there this season. Yeah, it's always kind of been in the back of my mind. But again, just, finding the time between the racing schedule we already have and, all the things you've already discussed, it's always a struggle is finding time.
Yeah, if you come out there, hey, I'll come out there. We'll talk to you a little bit about it, and we'll post a short video of it on our page. Clint David, he's got a question for you. He says, what is the difference in the tire wear from Legends to trucks? And was it tough to adjust?
I mean, I feel like the Legends were super, super competitive from team to team. So I feel like, we were throwing on new tires more than we would in the trucks. Well, right now, everything is just crazy. I mean, it's can you get tires? That's the first question.
Right.
And so it's like, then, what do you do? Do you try to find the newest that you have? Do you attempt to throw on some new ones? And so I think the tire wear is probably more on the Legend because we were running it so hard, as in where, we could take I could take a set of truck tires, run them in a feature, and then we can keep them and we'll just practice and practice and practice on them and, put a couple heat cycles in them. And then eventually, obviously, they, just run out of grip. But right now, all of that is kind of in a little bit of a limbo. It's really hard to get tires in general right now. And so, last race, we just had to run on the ones we had. Hopefully that gets better. Hopefully we can get some new tires and, race on some fresh rubber. It'd be nice. But as far as adjustment, I think it's from driving style. The truck was a little bit more of what I was used to in quarter midgets. So, obviously you drive it in and you brake and stuff like that. But the truck felt it's very like when I first got in it, it was really like delayed, and it feels very top heavy because it is such a heavy car. As compared to the Legend, is super small, and I mean you're going pretty fast around there. And like I discussed earlier, the power to weight ratio makes everything feel kind of crazy. And I mean you're setting the nose really hard, getting it to rotate. There's a lot that goes into that. As in more the truck try to be more smooth. And you guys have to focus on not spinning the tires. That was something I was never used to. It definitely, like I said, it definitely was an adjustment. But I think the adjustment from going to a quarter midget to a Legend was probably more difficult. And then from a Legend to a truck, I kind of combined like my driving styles from both of those and everything I had learned, and kind of just threw it at a car and was like, okay, I like these. I like them. And when we go out to Auburndale, I mean, we get 20-something cars pretty much every night. We've been there, and it's really good racing. I mean, it's like Auburndale's a little paperclip. And it's good racing. I mean, last time I raced there, I mean, we were like side by side the whole race. And I mean, the restarts are everyone's pretty close together. And so it was fun. I mean, I really, like I said, I really enjoy the trucks, and I do think that it's, combining some of my driving styles together and,
Right.
What happens.
Well, David had a question. He was talking about some other sports that you actually do as well, and we had already mentioned that you do swimming in high school. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to iterate on that since he missed that part of the show. He also made a comment, for everyone that, you can call in and ask a question as well. And of course, the number's on the screen. On your truck setup, when you go from, say, New Smyrna to the other tracks like Citrus Speedway, or is there a lot of changes that y'all need to make as far as camber?
Not a huge, really. I feel like a lot of it is like your ride heights and kind of messing with the shocks. And I mean, usually we kind of just throw it on the scales. Honestly, we haven't even changed the truck in a while because everything's rained out. So we had the truck, and then it rained out. We had it ready, and it rained out. And so it's kind of been sitting in a trailer for a little bit because now we're just waiting to go to Citrus, and hopefully it doesn't rain out. But I mean, for the most part, I don't think there's that many drastic changes. I mean, it's kind of like Citrus is a little bit. Citrus has two opposite corners, so there's one that's super wide and it's pretty forgiving. It's really open exit, and then there's one then when you go into turns 3 and 4, it's super tight, and so you gotta like really try to get it around the bottom and work your way up to the wall. And the New Smyrna is super banked, and then Auburndale is it's banked in one and then really flat in the other, and then just like super tiny little paper clip. So I mean, it's almost, Citrus is almost like a mix of both of those, I think, kind of put together. But New Smyrna is probably my favorite track.
Yeah, I was fixing to ask you which one of the three was your favorite, and I kind of figured it was New Smyrna.
Yeah.
Is that the closest track for you?
It is. It's about 20 minutes, which definitely makes it easier. If we forget something, oh God, just run home and grab it. Or I love how it's really banked, and I like turns 3 and 4, like I like you're just. It almost goes downhill and then you go back up again. And so I love how fast you're going. And when my first time on that track, my windshield would actually pop in at me when I went down the straightaway because of the G's. And when I went in the corner, it'd pop back out. We had to, put some other divots in there and try to make it a little bit more stable. But it's definitely, it feels like the fastest track I've ever been to. And I like that. And, you're definitely like really up on the wheel. And, it's one of those tracks where if you wipe out, you're wiping out hard. Like, if you were to wreck, it's going to be a bad one. Which always cross our fingers, hope that never happens. But I do like racing there a lot. Those reasons, yeah.
I'm going to let Alexa jump in here and ask a couple questions if she has any.
So have you ever crashed? Has that ever happened to you?
So, I mean, like every driver, everyone's taking a couple barrel rolls, stuffed it in the wall, got slammed into the door, whatever. But my biggest one is I cut off my finger and a quarter midget, like the tip of it. So,
oh my gosh.
So this is actually my quarter midget steering wheel. This is where I cut my finger off, was right there. So I was just racing on a restart, and then someone spun me out, and I just tipped over. It wasn't a bad accident at all. And I guess when the tires hit the ground, I have armor things that go on my wrist and connect back to the seatbelt. So when the wheels went down and slammed, I guess it brought my hands down as well. And when I landed, and then the car turned, and so this right here actually like cut through my finger, so cut through my glove and through my finger, and was kind of like dangling by nerves, not to get gross or anything. And so I was out. I had to get surgery on that. They like reimplanted my nail. You can kind of tell a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But I was only out for 3 weeks. And then actually the next race back was at New Smyrna, and I clean swept the whole night. So it was that, again, like a challenge. If something goes wrong, it's really good when things go right after that. We're talking about being sick and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And people ask me all the time, like, oh, like, aren't you scared, and I was like, honestly, I wasn't really scared to get back in. Like, my mom was asking, like, well, do you still want to race? So I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, and so I was 3 weeks, and that was it. And I'm good as new, I have feeling back in it. And so that's a freak accident. I mean, I really haven't ever heard of anything like that happening.
Yeah.
I was unfortunate in that one.
Wow.
You can't take the racer out of a car.
No.
I mean, you can't.
Everyone always says, I mean, now that I say it, you can probably see it, but everyone was always like, oh, you didn't tell me, I wouldn't notice. So it's not that big of a deal. And it's, it's not my ring finger. That's good.
That's good.
Clint David, he says, thank you for answering all the questions, and he will be looking to follow and root for you.
Well, thank you.
It's just the best of luck.
Yeah. For any updates, you can always give any of my social medias a follow. And I really, like I said, I appreciate the support from all of you guys, and I will update you guys about what happens at Citrus. So.
I also said that when back from deployment, I will gladly enjoy that interview. I will be in Nashville this weekend on leave and looking forward to it. Well, Clint David, we want to thank you for your service to this country. We really do.
Yeah. 100%.
So hopefully maybe one weekend I can get down there to New Smyrna and watch you race in person and on with the trucks. I think it'll be really good.
I'll let you guys know. Like I said, cross our fingers, nothing gets rained out, because the last 3 have. So.
Well, we took my youngest son. He loves racing. He's been going to the drag races, the Gator Nationals, ever since he was 1. He's been going to the Gator Nationals. So someone gave me the opportunity, gave me some tickets to go to Daytona for the 500. I said, yeah, sure. Thank you. I appreciate it. So we took him to the Daytona 500 a year ago, and it rained. And we sat there for a 5-hour rain delay.
Oh, God.
And so he was not very happy with NASCAR.
We've all been in that position. Like last weekend, we were supposed to race at Auburndale, so we're driving there and we're looking at the rain chances just keep getting worse and worse, and we're like, oh God! But they're like we're running it. So we went there, unloaded everything, and the second our car unloaded, it started raining a little bit. Then we threw and then we practiced, it ran a little bit. We threw the car on again, and then I was like, oh.
This one's going to be really funny. This is from David. He said he wants to see me race you. And maybe we can make it happen. That would be a heck of a show.
Hey, I'll make a deal with you. If you get in the legend, I will too, and we can race again.
I think I could do pretty well, because drag racers in the class that I run in, we use 2 feet. So we're always using 2 feet. We got our foot on the brake, our foot on the gas. We have to spool up our torque converters to leave and everything. So Alexa, she knows what I'm talking about. So we're constantly we're 2 feet drivers, and that's what you got to be pretty much racing roundy round tracks. I mean, you have to be able to coordinate and work both of your feet at the same time.
Yeah, you definitely do. I'm a legend. It's, I mean, super tedious between, braking gas and braking gas. And yeah, and it all varies from track to track too. So it's like you hit a new surface, you're like, okay, I got to figure this out. Oh, if there's a bump here, okay, I got to know I have to be in the gas before this bump. You can't, I gassed it up here, I was on the bump. Okay, that's why I was loose. There's a lot to it. Especially in most, you just feel so out of control. So out of control.
Yeah, I get a big laugh out of keyboard racers. The ones that are on Facebook or Twitter. Oh man, I don't know why they done this and why they done that, and they criticize, and they, a lot of them have no idea of what type of things go on. You can't drive a car by a keyboard. It doesn't happen, and a lot of those people don't have experience of ever being behind the wheel of anything except for their car to do drive back and forth to work. And it doesn't matter what type of motorsports that you're doing. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of learning. No matter if it's drag racing, running on dirt, asphalt, road courses, it's something that you have to constantly do and practice at every moment that you get the chance to do it. And we still learn stuff. I mean, we still learn stuff 10, 15 years down the road.
Yeah.
Alexa, you have. Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking, I don't think you asked me what my plans were for the future, and I don't think I ever directly answered that, just from what you were saying. But, we're thinking about, maybe trying to run another car along with the truck. We're looking at looking at our options, and, we might dabble in a sportsman, or, we're trying to keep our options open. But we are definitely trying to either, run something with the truck, or whether we go race some dirt and legend, or, wherever. So as far as the future, we're just kind of keeping our eyes open and going to see what opportunities come our way.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be open-minded, and Brody, they were having the Nitro Rallycross. They happened at the firm this past year. So I had Brian bring Brody out there to the track to see it. And right after that, I talked to people the day prior that Brody didn't know that I took Brody around and introduced him to some of the people and some of the teams, and to just, open up the door a little bit more, to broaden it for him, just in case he wanted to have a chance of getting behind one of those cars and trying it out. And
thing like marketing, it's all about knowing the right people, the timing. I mean, all of that is so circumstantial, but yeah, I mean, if you're able to market yourself, and like you said, if you know people who know people, then you're good.
Right, that's what you got to have.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, Alexa, she's got sponsors on her car that she races.
Yeah, we're still working. It's hard. It's hard.
It is hard.
You'll have 100 doors closed in your face before you have one to open. Mm-hmm. And that's a true statement.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. We're going to go over here to the comments real quick. David Rogers says, "Yes, Taylor, we can make that happen." He also said, "Racing of any sort is one of the toughest things to do, and it takes a lot of work and skill to get behind the wheel of any of these cars." And he also mentioned it's like trying to hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. To me, one of the hardest things in sports to do, and racing is right there with it, So, yeah, exactly. Exactly. I tell you what, Taylor, we've had a great show tonight. We really appreciate you coming on. Uh, feel free to share this interview with anybody. Uh, I see that you're very marketable. You got a great following. I mean, we've got 13 people on here, and that number's just going to grow after the show. And you got a face for marketing and a voice. You're very confident, and it takes that.
The Weston way.
That means a lot. Like I said, again, thank you guys so much for this opportunity. I love any chance to talk about racing, and I appreciate you guys, and I hope this podcast, just keeps on going and going, and I wish you guys success.
Yeah, we actually started off another podcast called On the Spot with David Rogers that mostly talked about news and political stuff, and I was able to start getting racers to come on, and with that going on, we said, hey, you know what? It might be a great thing to have another podcast just dedicated to motorsports. So that's why we created On the Spot Motorsports with David Rogers. And we kept David Rogers on there instead of On the Spot with Mitchell Gunner, because we want the pages to be interconnected. So people who follow us will follow the other page and vice versa, and kind of cross over. And it's just like you said, it's a marketing tool that we're trying to use.
Yeah, no, I love it. Love it.
Let's see, is this your mother?
That's my dad's mom. That's my grandma.
Oh, that's your grandma? Okay.
Love you, Grandma.
We got somebody else
That's
giving you a strong arm.
That's Matt Malone. So, quick story. His daughter, Gabby, races for him, and I've actually been coaching her for the past year or so now. So whenever I'm there and she's been doing awesome, just like you said, gaining confidence is so much of, and like David said, it's hard. And so it, takes a lot of skill. And so that's something I try to do in my spare time is, that's kind of my way of somewhat giving back to how I started. So shout out to Gabby. She did awesome and won her first, she won her first little race in a regional event. So congratulations to them, and a little shout out while I'm on here.
Yeah, David, he said Taylor has a great smile and personality. And yes, Mitchell, you're right. She can be a model.
I'll keep that in mind.
And here's another one. It says, keep digging, TWR.
Thanks, Dalton.
So, yeah, you have quite a following on here. And I'll tell you, it's been great. We've actually learned a little bit as well. Us drag racers, we need to be open-minded as well. And, like I said earlier, we're talking about the motorsports page, and I was getting a lot of NHRA drivers on. And I wanted to broaden that and just not be NHRA related. I wanted to open it up for NASCAR, for local people who run it at the local levels as well, because we're all in this thing together. What do you think, Alexa?
I agree. I like that. Yeah.
And I think this is for you. Do you get nervous, Alexa? She's not going to comment.
No, that's probably actually the one time that I'm super confident in racing, even though I don't think I'm going to win, but still.
But I tell you what, we're going to flash through some pictures real quick before we let you go. Some of them we already shown. This, of course, is Legends.
Yeah, that's Auburndale Speedway right there.
You're moving kind of fast there.
Yeah. That picture right there was taken by Philip Goodman. He is a photographer based out of North Carolina. So shout out to him. I've gotten so many great pictures from him. And, just while I'm on here, if you see this, I appreciate everything. And thanks for all the great photos, Philip. Oh, I love that one.
And of course, we show this with you on dirt.
Yeah.
Now that's at a banquet, correct?
Yeah.
With your mom and dad?
Yeah, that was a regional banquet, and so I won, I think, 3 or 4 that year, regional championships. I can try to count the trophies. And that's me and my dad giving me a pep talk. I didn't mention this earlier, but I mean, everything that I've done in racing is because of my dad, and that's definitely, I mean, none of this would have been possible without my dad. I mean, from coaching me, from driving, and to working on the car to make it the best he possibly can. He is always there for me. And I know he's watching this, so just a little shout out, because without him, like I said, none of this would be possible at all. He's my biggest supporter, and, you know, all of my success I devote to my parents, and, you know, they helped me get there, and I couldn't do any of this without them. So.
That's from one of your wins?
Yeah, that was my first truck win at New Smyrna, yeah. My hair looks all messed up too, and that's a little family photo. We had both sets of my grandparents there that night. So my mom's parents and my dad's parents were able to come out, and that just made it even more special, because that was the first time that they've both been there at the same time in a long time since I raced quarter midgets, because, you know, legends were always traveling and stuff. So that made it really special.
And is that from your first win?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been down there in New Smyrna, you know, one time to go watch Brody race, and it looks like it's a nice track. They got quite a bit of seating stands there for people to sit down. If anybody hasn't been down there and you live close, hey, you need to take a trip over there and just go out there on a Saturday night. You know, we're in a time right now where a lot of tracks are closing everywhere, and every different type of racing platform, they're closing their doors, and it's because people are sitting on the couch at the house and not getting up and going to an event. You know, it's nice to go out there and grab you a hot dog or some nachos and a drink, sit up in the stands and watch some racing. You know, get off the couch. I mean, there's not much on TV that's worth watching anymore. So get out there and enjoy motorsports.
Sure.
Well, Taylor, we appreciate it. Anytime that you would like to come back on, if you got some news breaking stories that you would like to share with us, just hit me up on Messenger, and we'll get you back on. You also have my telephone number.
All right. Like I said, I appreciate you guys, and thank you for everyone that came and watched, and all the comments and questions. Couldn't do any of this without you guys. So thanks for everything, and I will be in touch with you guys. Bye.
Good
See you
luck.
later. All right, there goes Taylor Watson. I tell you what, Alexa, what a great interview with a young lady. She acts like she's in her 20s.
Yeah.
You know, still in high school. Got some great marketing skills there, and I think some good things are going to be coming in her future, especially with her possibly going to UF and work on a marketing degree. There's a lot of people out there that's in motorsports that have degrees in marketing, and they use that experience and that education for their advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. This is for, I wasn't going to mention she has a division championship, and
I think she met her dad doesn't.
Okay. But I tell you what, how did you like being the co-host?
I liked it. I think I feel a little bit better, but once those dogs started barking, I was like, oh, I freaked out a little bit. I'm very OCD and follow the schedule, so that kind of threw me for a loop, to be honest. But
hey, those type of things, they happen all the time. Y'all probably didn't hear it, but Zane come to run into the room and was like, "Oh, he's still doing the show." So those things happen.
it's like, oh, he's still talking.
It's just part of life. But before we go, I want to go back through, talk about our sponsors, our marketing partners that make this all happen. Wanted to go back through them real quick. One of those is Miracle Automotive and Towing out of Stark. Don't pray for a miracle. Call Miracle at 904 368 1114. Also, we want to mention our newest partner that has joined us, Westgate Resorts. Hey, if you're thinking about getting into a timeshare and want to know a little bit more about it, you have the opportunity. You can give them a call. Number's right there on the screen. Mention that discount code that's on there. They will hook you up with a 3-day, 2-night stay. All you have to do is cover your taxes. There will be like a $50 deposit that you will receive back after checking out. And so you'll know the ins and outs, what's going on. And hey, you can use this in Las Vegas. You can use it in Orlando, Myrtle Beach. There's Gatlinburg. They have a few locations right there. Branson. Give them a call. Give them that code right there and check it out. If you wanted to go on a trip and don't really want to pay for a motel room, hey, take that opportunity. Also, we want to thank On the Spot Lawn Maintenance. Let the red, white, and blue take care of your green. And of course, I don't want anybody to forget that we will be live this Saturday, again, live streaming the races at Gainesville Raceway. So please join us. We always go hot on the camera right around 10 o'clock is usually when time runs start. You can catch all of the racing action there, but we would rather see you out in the stands for our Summit Racing Equipment ED Bracket Series. So without any further ado, thank y'all all for joining us today. And we'll see you next time here on the Spot Motorsports with David Rogers.